Welcome back, people of the internet. It's me again, Will, and I'd like to welcome you to 411 Now. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the Delphi murders, in particular, Kegan Klein. In case you're not familiar with this case, back on February 13th of 2017, little teenagers, Abby Williams and Libby German, went for a walk on a nature trail in Delphi, Indiana. And they encountered a man who approached them on the bridge, a train trestle bridge, and ordered them down the hill. This would be the last of Abby and Libby. They were, shortly thereafter murdered. Now, contrary to what a lot of people on the internet have said, the police department has never released what their actual cause of death is, but we do get a small, tiny little window into how they both, lost their lives, and that part of a report said that they had both lost excessive amounts of blood. We don't know if they were stabbed. We don't know if they were shot. But now to Kegan Klein. Kegan Klein has been incarcerated now for well over 2 years. And a couple of times, the Indiana State Police Department, the ISP, has requested and removed him actually from the incarceration where he was and transferred him into their custody so he could aid in actual discovery of evidence and show them what he had done. Now, Kegan Klein has, they're not saying that he is necessarily the prime suspect, but they have listed him as a person of interest in the Delphi murders. Kegan Klein is currently being held on 30 counts of possession of child pornography and exploitation of minors. And what Kegan Klein had done was he had used a catfishing account where he pretended to be Anthony_shot. And this profile, he had taken pictures of an actual male model and a real human being, and pretended to be this individual and catfish, young women, and convinced them to send him in some cases, pornographic images of their nude bodies. In other instances, he convinced them to give him money or to, send him gifts to, as a friend. Now, there were well over 1,000 images that were discovered on several different cell phones and external hard drives that Kegan Klein had. But how does he tie into the Delphi murders itself? Well, ladies and gentlemen, he was one of the last people to speak with, Libby and Abby on the day that they were murdered. He had spoken to them not only that day, but may have exposed, according to the police, may have had communication with them at a previous date, at least once, possibly twice. They're not, when it comes to the police department, they've been extremely vague on a lot of the evidence in this case because they don't want to tip their hand on where the actual investigation is going. A lot of people also on the internet have pointed out that the original sketch image looks more like Kegan Klein's father, and the second sketch image looks like Kegan Klein. But at this point, his father is not listed as a person of interest in the case, or even that he may have been involved. There has been speculation of it, but he hasn't been listed as a person of interest, or that they said that he is a prime suspect or anything like that. But Kegan Klein is in the news again today. He's complaining in an interview that he's constantly hungry, that he's not getting enough food, there in jail, and that he, needs money, to be put on his commissary account so he can buy snacks, so he can actually feed himself. He's gone as far as actually requesting up to $400 in order for somebody to do an interview with him. And I hate to say it, but at least two people, different groups have paid up, some amount. They won't say how much they paid, but they paid to actually interview Kegan Kline. But on top of that, all that, that he's hungry and he's extorting money to do interviews. And in the interviews, he refuses to answer anything about the Delphi murders. On top of that, new developments in this case was he was transferred to the ISP, again, the Indiana State Police Department, to their custody. And a search warrant was issued for a parcel of property along the river there, along with the actual river itself. They sent dive teams with metal detectors underwater to look for something, along with, for several days, almost a week in total, to be exact, they searched the actual property with metal detectors. Is this for evidence that Kegan Kline may have disposed of in this area? Is there a gun or a knife or something along that lines that would be detected by a metal detector that he disposed of in this area? Now, this is less than 2 miles from the home that Kegan Kline lived at with his father at that time. Or is he, just playing, a game with the Indiana State Police Department? The more that they investigate this case, from what I understand, from a retired Indiana State police officer, the more they investigate, the closer they are to actually solving this case and to bringing justice for Abby and Libby and for their families. It's hard to believe that it has happened in 2017, and here we are in 2022. May God rest their souls. And let's all pray that we get closure for Abby and Libby sooner than later. Thank you for joining me today. You have a wonderful week ahead.